You know,
Welcome back to the MVP podcast. My name is B-Man. I'm here with Danny Boy Khan, and we're back again with another episode of Off the Pitch. Now, if you guys didn't know already, we started a new segment where we can kind of just talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about. If we want to talk about anime, we can talk about anime. If you want to talk about movies, we can talk about movies. If y'all man want to talk about food, we can talk about food.
we can certainly eat it as well. We can certainly eat it.
Maybe we should just record an episode where we're just eating, lad. Just eating. We should really think about
So long as it's on your credit card, not mine. Yeah.
that. I got you. I got you. Anyway, Danny, I'm glad to have you on. Can you let people know where the hell you are?
Lovely. So over here, as you can see, recently I got engaged to a Disney princess. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm in Scotland. We are live. We are direct. I'm on holiday. I wanted to get out basically. Obviously,
Yeah.
with the situation of the COVID, I was still very unsure about certain things, and I didn't want to catch it. And I also didn't feel safe enough traveling abroad in a plane. So decided that we're going to come to Scotland, and Scotland is full of beaches, castles, and lovely people. So you know what? It's a great backdrop to have.
Amazing, amazing. I miss going on holiday, man. I haven't been anywhere since like late December, early January, man. I just want to get back to traveling because that is what makes me go, man. That's what makes me go.
You're not the only one. I don't think you're not the only one to say that, and I don't think you'll be the last person to say that. Like I always compare it. It's like the element of freedom for me. I
Mhm.
leave everything behind, and it really gives you time to reflect on things, to think about things, to see new things, to try new things, and it's if we could live on holiday for 24/7, and for the rest of our life, I still think that won't be enough. You know what I mean?
Do you know what? You hit the nail on the head. Do you know what it is? With me, the moment that I get on that flight and it takes off, any concerns, any problems, any troubles that I may have don't exist anymore. Because the truth is, what could I possibly do from all the way up there once I'm
Yeah,
flying, and what the hell can I do once I'm on holiday? The only
you
thing I could
can't.
do is enjoy it. And I think the biggest example of me actually getting away, and to a certain extent, sometimes it is actually literally just getting away from my problems, was when I
Yeah.
went to, I think this was in 2015, I went to Barcelona. And
Oh, beautiful.
when I tell you, I hated everything that was going on in my life at that point. I hated my
Mm.
job. I hated what I was doing. I wasn't active. I wasn't progressing. I wasn't doing anything. But at the time, I didn't really understand what it meant to progress as a person. My idea was always progression meant getting a better job, getting your car, upgrading your. That, to me, that's what seemed like progression.
The
Until
materialistic things.
Exactly. Until I was in a position where I really understood, like, yo, I don't know what is going on with my life. Let me reset and restart. And I went to Spain, I went to Barcelona, I went to Valencia, I went to Mallorca, I went to Madrid, and then I came back. And in the whole trip, not only did I get time to reflect, and it was scary being by myself at the time because I
Yeah.
traveled alone, but I quit my job on the holiday because I realized that that's not what I wanted to do, man. I just quit it, left it. It wasn't for me anymore. And now I'm here and I have arguably the best job in the world, done it. All
Love that.
because, all because I did that. I
All
drew,
because of the risk you took.
yeah, man. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So tell me, give me an example of a time when you went on a holiday and it was just wonderful.
Mate, every single holiday has been wonderful. Like honestly, like regardless of where I go, I'm very fortunate in that even though I've been to probably cities that I wouldn't go to again just purely because they didn't intrigue me.
Mm,
It's the concept of traveling and the aspect of, like you said, being away from everything. For me, like I'm a very, and obviously you can probably tell by knowing me, and I'm a very in tune with my feelings kind of person. What comes from my gut, I genuinely believe that that's the right thing to follow, and that's hard for a person like me because head and heart are always arguing. The heart wants to do this and head wants to do that, and head's like no, and heart's like this, but I think I'd say the last holiday I went to Porto. I went to Porto for a couple of days, and it was just a point where I was very bogged down in life. Um, you know, you get those times where you've got to be strong in life. Um, Everyone has those tests, and the fact that I was strong for a while, and there was other sort of circumstances that weren't going my way that I felt powerless. I couldn't do nothing about. So just to a lot of people say back to the drawing board, but when I was looking at the drawing board, there was no inspiration there. There was no motivation there. It was a bleak and a dark time, and it was actually my cousin who reached out to me and said, "Look, let's go to Porto." And I just said yes. Like Porto, you think Portugal, you think Lisbon, don't you? You don't think Porto.
Yeah.
The only time you think Porto is when they won the Champions League in 2004. But then he said that to me, and I said, "Yeah, you know what? Book it." I gave him the money, he booked it, and no sooner did I land there that I felt like I had time. Like time was mine. There was no interruptions. I wasn't running around doing things. Uh, you know, it's it was a feeling of, and I call it the element of freedom. I could be whoever I wanted to be in Portugal. Nobody would have been bothered. And I was seeing the sights, and you not find that when you go on holiday, people just seem more friendlier.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know what that is. You know what I mean? I generally don't know what that is, but the fact that you and I think they mirror you. I think because when you're on holiday, when you're happy, you glow different,
Uh-huh.
and I think they see that. And when they see that, I think they're more open to that. I think that's why probably maybe everyone enjoys their holidays. I think just gives them that tad bit of happiness. You know what I mean? And Bala, full well you've traveled more than me. When you're sat on that plane coming back, that it feels like a Deontay Wilder, Mike Tyson uppercut, mate. That sudden wave of sadness. You know what I mean? It's like like in Bollywood movies that like Weezy watches and that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Oh, I've got a dog that she wants to join me here. Look,
Oh
a dog, a
wow.
dog just a dog just popped out of nowhere. I'm not scared. Hey, where's that? Where we going here? Oh, we're back. We're back. Dog wanted to join me there. I'm not scared of dogs, which is lucky. So
Yo,
you know what I mean.
you got cojones, man. I hate dogs,
I love I love dogs. If I could have a dog at home, I'd bring one home. But I think between me and the dog, man, I might get kicked out of the house, mate.
So Danny, yo, tell me, what is your wildest holiday story? Do you have one? Do you have a wild holiday story?
I have a few, to be honest. How PG we're trying to keep it.
Just keep it
No,
PG as possible.
keep it PG. Well, obviously, there's a well-known fact about me in the fact that every time I've gone on holiday, if it's involved catching a flight, I've been randomly selected.
Okay,
So
yeah,
if it's been 14 flights, it's been, and it's been, yep, going there you're selected, coming back you're selected.
yeah.
So that's always what I like. In terms of holidays, I don't really sleep on holidays. I'm really up and at it straight from the get go. Like if I'll go to bed maybe like 3-4 a.m. and I'll be up and out for like 7-8 o'clock. I remember the first time I went on holiday in Barcelona, I nearly got hit by 16, 17 different cars. Because I'm like a kid, but like I'm a proper big kid. Like I run around, I get excited really easily. I'm like, oh, this is good, that's good. You know what I mean? And it's just one of them, mate. Like I'm just literally like, I want to see everything, I want to do everything. There's 24 hours in a day. I'm like a Duracell bunny, mate, supercharged, running out, running out, running out. I remember in Paris, I nearly got beat up. When
How?
I went to Paris, see, we don't check things before we go. You know what I mean? So I've gone to Paris and there's the yellow vest movement happening at that time.
Huh.
And I'm trying to look at the Arc de Triomphe. So I've gone there and there's SWAT teams and there's SWAT vans and there's all these big tanks like protecting that place, and there's people with yellow vests. Now, I'm a big kid, so a big kid, they can't really sense danger, can they? Kids don't sense danger. They're just like, they want to just go off.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm running to the Arc de Triomphe. I've walked past all these group of yellow vest people, and I thought they must have been construction workers or something.
Yeah.
And I've literally walked into three SWAT team members with full shield, riot gear, and one of them staring me dead in the eye, and he's got his hands on this gun, mate. When I've seen that, mate, I've like, oh, hello, you know what I mean? And he's looked at me like, what you're doing here. And he don't speak English, I don't speak French. And I'm looking around like, what do I do now? And like the yellow vest people are coming forward, and the SWAT team are coming forward as well. And I'm literally caught in the crossfire. Either I'm gonna get stomped by these guys, or I'm gonna get shot. So literally, I just looked left and I just sprinted. And then I thought I probably shouldn't do that because it might look like I'm guilty.
Yeah.
Eventually, there was some nice guy there who spoke English, and I said, like, can you explain to the SWAT team, like, I didn't see that you guys were there. Do you know what I mean? I was just trying to get a picture.
Yeah.
But that's probably one of the wildest.
Wow. That sounds scary, man. That actually sounds scary.
It
I got
was.
actually
It
in
was.
Jordan, which is the last holiday that I've been on, I got kidnapped.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got kidnapped. I got taken to this random place where I got my head pulled down because I tried to keep an eye on the roads to see where I was going. Got my head pulled down, took me to the place, which was actually really nice, but the whole ordeal was actually quite scary. I think that's the wildest thing that's happened to me. Although I've been in quite a few accidents, like scooter related, and getting stopped by immigration and stuff like that happens all the time. So to me, that's now like normal to me.
Yeah, that's the new normal. That's normal for us.
I got randomly searched. I'm like, okay, whatever. Here you go. Check my bag. Check me. We're good to go. But yo, I wanted to talk about just the idea, right, Danny? The idea of being happy. What does it mean to be a happy person, right? That's because everyone has their own way of experiencing happiness. For some people, it's very materialistic. For others, it's more about experience. With me, I side more on the experience side, although I wouldn't say no.
Here we go. Here we go again. That's all right. You just got the headphones out 1 second. Look, this is live, mate. This is live, unscripted. This is what Off the Pitch is about. You know what I mean? Sharing these kind of experiences, mate.
Anyway,
so,
so I said, like, there's people that prefer the materialistic side, and there's others that prefer experience, and I side more on the experience side. Although I wouldn't say no to a brand new Lamborghini. I am not. But Danny, what does being happy mean to you?
So, great point you made there about materialism and how it affects some people and stuff like that. And statistically, I do want to bring up that I read a statistic a long time ago that the people who spend more money on experiences rather than the material stuff, they generally be the ones in society that are more happy. Mm-hmm. Now, it's a great question, what you asked in what does being happy mean to you? And I think although like being happy means different things to everybody in society, I think generally everybody knows what happiness is and what happiness feels like. I feel like we go through the same emotion there. I think that's what makes us sort of humans. For me, being happy, I'd probably say it's, and this probably answer could change. If you ask me next week, I'd probably have a different answer for this. You know what I mean? Just because of experiences and circumstances and situations. But I think, and you've said this to me, I think this is in your Instagram bio actually. I just want to live life on my own terms.
Yeah, it is.
I think that's a large part of happiness. Being free to do things that you want to do.
Yeah.
I also think that's more from the selfish side of happiness. I also think that, like, personally, me as a person, seeing others succeed who I care for, I think that's happiness. Because the way I see it is, today, and if God graces me with that, and God's graced me with a lot of things, that today I become a rich person, or I have everything that I think I want in life, and which you can never have because man is made greedy naturally. We're never content with what we have, and that's kind of a game that keeps you chasing in things. But I think that if I have all these things in life, but my people are not there with me to share those things with, then what's the point of those things?
True.
Like, today I have a Lamborghini. Yeah, maybe for a month I'll enjoy it and I'll put it in speed, and I'll get looks from people and people will fall in love with me. But if my best friend were to pass away today, would that Lamborghini mean anything to me? No, I'd switch that Lamborghini for maybe 60, 70 more years of his life. So I think happiness is, it's a feeling that just makes you at ease, makes you comfort, you know what I mean? and it just makes you a giddy. Like, I'm trying not to use the words that we associate with happiness here.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But just like a euphoric feeling that that's what it is. It's a euphoric feeling of contentment.
Okay.
I think so. That's what being happy is. I think being happy is being content. I think if you're content, you're happy.
Yeah. Do you know what? I couldn't have put it any better than you did, Danny. I really, really couldn't have. But I think it's with me, I realized that happiness has to start with oneself first and foremost. And if you don't feel
Yeah,
comfortable with yourself and you don't feel comfortable with what you're doing, then you might get a fleeting moment of happiness when something really nice happens. For example, I could be
yeah,
playing NBA 2K one night and I could be beating everyone. I could be extremely happy, right? But it's very fleeting.
mm,
But I'm in your camp when I say if I'm content with myself and I see the people around me
mm,
like I'm having a positive effect and that they are happy, then I
yeah,
go to like another gear of happiness. And this is why I love my job so much as a teacher, right? Kids tell me all the time, I work in a school that is in a low income area where nothing is really expected from the kids. And they ask me, like, why do you even want to work here, sir? This school is dead. The school is dead. They say it all the time, but I don't think they understand. At a young age, you don't understand what it means to really make a difference and be happy with the difference you make.
yeah,
Give me any moment where I see a kid come up to me when they need something from me, like, oh, sir, I forgot this. Something as simple as a pen. So I forgot a pen. No, I got you. Here you go.
yeah.
Results day. When I see someone in class, like sometimes you see these buttons clicking in their brains. You just see it
Yeah,
going. And those moments, I live for them so much. And as a teacher, when I first came in, they used to say, like, when you witness that moment, teaching is worth it, right? Keep
yeah,
going until you get the moment. But you know
yeah.
what's funny, Danny? I get that moment nearly every single day. Every
That's
single
it.
day in
Yeah,
school, yo, I am gassed. The kids, everyone tells me, like, oh, teachers will come up to me and say, like, yo, how do you even build a relationship like that with the kids? Tell me. And I tell them the same thing all the time. It's like, there's nothing that I am doing. This is who I am. And the kids, they prefer my personality. They like my
yeah,
personality. And I'm open to them. They're
yeah.
open to come to me and I'm there for them. Do you know what I mean?
I think because obviously, coming from where you've come from and the little that I know about you as well, I think that those kids may sort of, there's a word I'm looking for here, relate to you as well. So
Mhm.
I think that's another sort of side of it, and I believe you can relate to them as well because, like, I'm from a low income background, and I believe you are as well. So I think that's another level. I think that a lot of times where people try to understand, they would struggle to understand because they've not been in that situation. And don't get me wrong, I respect anybody that's willing to give advice, that's willing to, look after a person, make a peace and feel good, because society nowadays is moving very selfish,
Mhm.
and it seems to be getting worse and worse. I don't know if that's because I'm growing up and I'm becoming more of an adult, so my mindset is changing and my mindset is seeing these kind of things. But generally, like, and I know nostalgia is a very different emotion because it never makes you remember the bad. Nostalgia always makes you remember the good. But you hear people saying, like, it used to be better 10, 15 years ago, and those people who have said that say no, it was better 30 years ago, and those people saying that it was better 45 years ago. So in the sense that I think relatability is a big thing, towards happiness. I think when you've got someone who understands your struggle as well,
Mhm.
there's a lot of people out there who unfortunately, don't have friends who can understand their struggle, and some of the people they may be hanging around with and trying to make friendships with, they might be selfish people who are only sort of concerned about what's in my pocket, what's in my income. And I think as a society, be man, you know, for us to get this utopia and this haven, I'm an optimistic person. I'm a realist as well. But I do believe that, one day we can have this utopia society, but it has to begin with us from inside. You know what I mean? We have to check ourselves in the mirror. We have to look at ourselves and say, you know what? You were in a position of stress. Like, I'll give you a work example. You were in a position of stress, and while you was in a position of stress, you may have lashed out at a fellow member of staff. Now that member of staff has feel upset, and the day's gone by, and 2 days have gone by, and you've not thought, I need to apologize to that person. You know what I mean? And because of that, like, because you haven't apologized, you know, you've become a bit selfish in that sense, and then pride sort of kept you from apologizing. So I think that if everyone literally looked in the mirror and thought about the wrongs they've committed in this life, and you know what they could do better, then generally we can get that utopia, that heaven, that thing that we're looking for.
So if you could give anyone a piece of advice, Danny, someone that came up to you and said, look, I don't feel like I'm in a good place right now, would you have any type of advice for them?
Yeah, I'd have a few, man. Like, I'd always say that, look, first and foremost, without sadness and without any form of those kind of what we sort of talk about as negative emotions, without feeling them, you'd never feel the euphoria of happiness. So one thing is that you're feeling that, and I'd say to a lot of people that it's okay to feel things. You know, as males in society, like, sometimes we feel embarrassed to share our feelings, man. We feel ashamed. We think that today, if I'm sad and I tell my friend, he's going to look at that as weakness, but that isn't a weakness. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people in this world who are suffering with mental illnesses and, you know, depression and thoughts of suicide. And I hope that those people find heal. You know what I mean? I hope those people can find something that heals them. But I would always say that we've got to feel those emotions. It doesn't make you less of a man to share your emotions with people. And I would say that, you know, just like everything in life, this too shall pass. You know what I mean? You'll eventually, you'll get that. Whatever's making you sad, you'll conquer that. You know what I mean? If it's the fact that maybe you didn't get a promotion at work, you'll conquer that. You'll go for the next promotion. And I think the biggest one, Balak, is that don't ever lose hope. Because don't get me wrong, like, hope is a dangerous thing. But the moment you lose hope, Balak, is when your mind alters. And when your mind's altered like that, that's when you're just fighting yourself. You know what I mean? You're not only fighting the problems and the burdens you're carrying, you're fighting yourself. And when you fight yourself, Balak, and I've been in those positions, I'm sure pretty much everyone in this earth has had a time where they've been like that. When you're fighting with yourself, Balak, you know, the sun could come out, you're still not happy. You're questioning, you know, you're thinking negative, it's going to be out for half an hour and then the rain's going to come back. And there's a very beautiful quote, actually, that I learned when I was a young kid, and it's that those mountains that you're carrying, you're meant to climb on, not carry with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're meant to climb to see the view. You're not meant to sort of, you know, carry them. But honestly, like, I do wish generally that the whole world, because the whole world is in some form of pain, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People are struggling. I saw it yesterday when I was in Glasgow. You know, me and Naeem, we were just sat in a George's. I think it was George. It's like what do you call them places, Batman? You know, when there's like an open space and there's a lot of monuments there. Like a I can't remember what you call it, mate. But we was in some place there, and you know, there was a lot of people who were homeless, and some really kind-hearted folk opened a soup kitchen for them. And they were cold last night, so they're giving away free soup. And I went over to the soup kitchen, and you know, I had a little conversation with them, and even they said something to me that I thought was really nice. You know, you don't lose nothing by giving someone something. So I think those pretty much carry a lot of weight there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what? You mentioned the carrying the mountain. You're not supposed to carry it, you're supposed to climb them. There was one inset day where we did this exercise, right? Well, we didn't do as a whole, but it was like a way to try and get to understand how much kids can struggle. And the way they did it was this: they got one member of staff to wear a backpack, and they told them to walk around. And then they added a brick. Oh, I think it was just a bunch of books. They added the books into the backpack, and they said, here is the home stresses. And they added it to the backpack, and the person had to walk around. And then they added more stuff, and they said, this is the stresses that they feel amongst their friends, their peers, had to walk around again. These are the stress they feel in school. And then the baggage got too heavy. So I thought that was brilliant. But to end it, I'd like to say one thing, right? TV, social media, all of that, it makes you believe that your emotions, that when you find happiness or you find love, that it's something that will continue on forever. What people fail to understand is emotions is limited during a time. You might be happy for one moment, and then again you might be unhappy. You might be fully in love with someone and you could marry them, but that doesn't mean that you're in love every single second of the day. There are times where you might look at your other half and say, yo, listen, you are really, really irritating me, right? People have to understand that just because you're not in love 24/7 doesn't mean that you don't love the person.
Yeah, of
People have
course.
to understand that you're going to have moments where you're not in love, and there's moments where you're not happy. And like you said, sometimes you have to walk through that to become better. And I think for the both of us anyway, from the background that we've grown up from, where struggle is a really normal thing. It's like, okay, well, the struggle is here, but when I get past it, the next time I have that same struggle, man, it's life. It's easy. But yeah, Danny, I've actually really enjoyed this episode, man. I love talking to you. We're going to have to put a stop to it.
I'll be honest with you. I'd love to carry on, mate. We could sit here for about 6-7 hours. I think
really
talking about this, but
yeah. But anyway, guys, if you like the video, you should really just leave a like on the video. It's just one click, won't hurt you. Take about 2 seconds, 1 second. Just do it right now. Like the video if you like the video. And we're going to keep dropping. We're going to keep dropping stuff. We're working hard. We're just trying to do our best and support it, right? If you can't support the content, support the hustle. Simple.
Yep.
Simple. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. And we'll be back again soon.
Just use the comment section. I said it.
Yeah. Anyway, peace.